I have come to Notre Dame and I've come to appreciate being at Notre Dame because this is a space where you can integrate so many different ideas, so many different ways of thinking, so many different kinds of research. I am a qualitative researcher. I focus on describing phenomenon in the world that are important to children, to families, and in particular to schools. I get to teach courses that range from youth empowerment and youth literacy courses to introductions to American education, to contemporary philosophy. And what all of these courses have in common is a focus on children and a focus on equity and the way we understand equitable conditions for learning and raising children in particular, in my case, in the United States. So you might ask what that looks like in terms of my research and my research agenda. And when I'm talking to my research assistants, undergraduates typically, that I bring on either as paid assistantships or for credit, what I tell them is that there are three pieces that are key to any research project that I undertake. The first is that it has to involve children. Ideally, it has to involve children's voices. The second is that the methodology fits with my expertise, which is qualitative in nature. It typically uses some kind of art or arts-based research method. And the third is that the line of research has a question that someone in the world has asked, whether that's in the South Bend community or that's in the wider educational community. It can't just be a question that I care about. It has to be a question that's been put out there into the universe that we don't have enough information about and that we are trying to figure out how to answer in partnership with someone else. I have two ongoing research projects that I am currently working on. The first involves a question about how it is that our Notre Dame students at a predominantly white institution with a wide array of student backgrounds come to take courses in topics that relate to race, poverty, class, privilege, or identity. I'm really interested in figuring out what brings 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds into a classroom where they're going to engage with difficult topics. And what I'd really like to know is what brought them here so that I can work backwards and think about what we need to do with children or young adolescents to get them prepared to engage those difficult topics when they come here. So we've had an ongoing research project that I work with undergraduate students to do interviews and a technique of backwards mapping. We use creating life maps with young people, our undergraduate students, to tease out what are the conditions under which one can come to thinking about these topics. That's been a really fruitful project, and one of the most fruitful things about that project in particular has been the engagement of the undergraduates. I have at least one undergraduate assistant every semester that works with me on this project on various facets. And I keep it open as an ongoing research project, even though I've come to some conclusions, we've written about it already, because it's also an incredibly fruitful teaching modality with our undergraduates. The second project that I've been involved with and feel incredibly lucky to be a part of is a community-based research project that originated a little over 5 years ago through the Center for Social Concerns and a local community partner, the Neighborhood Resources Connection. The Neighborhood Resources Connection came to us and said, we'd really like children to be more engaged civically. And we think we could do this with something called Photo Voice. We want to give them a camera and we want to send them out to take pictures all over South Bend about what they like and what they don't like. And are you interested? And I really thought about it, and it fit sort of my criteria. It involves children. It's privileging children's voices. It's an artistic methodology that relates to descriptive methods. And it's a question somebody else had in the world. So I signed on, as well as my colleague Stuart Green, who is a faculty member in Africana Studies and the Department of English here. And we started down a path of what we thought was going to be a 3-week, 6-week, maybe 12-week project. So almost 6 years later, we are still going with this project. And we've explored every avenue from the original question that the community organization wanted answered, to a series of questions that have come through the research as it's evolved. One of the outgrowths of this project is a community-based research class that we teach every spring in a co-teaching model sponsored by the College of Arts and Letters. We were supported early on in our work by the Center for Social Concerns with a Gainey grant that got us going, that got us some equipment for this project, and has really buoyed our ability to apply for external grant funding for this project. And in that community-based learning class, we partner 15 students from the university with 15 adolescents in the community, and they go through a 14-week program together that is about youth engagement, civic identity, and really understanding how it is we bring diverse populations of children and young adults into a conversation about flourishing communities and about really becoming grounded and rooted in community change at a local level. I can't say enough about the fruitfulness of the project, but also the support that we've been given here on campus for the work that we're doing. So besides having the Center for Social Concerns to go to with faculty in the center that are experts in community-based research, I have also felt enormously supported by the College of Arts and Letters. We've been given every semester a grant of some sort from the Institute for Scholarship in the Liberal Arts. And those grants have ranged from being able to ask them for money for transcriptions or equipment to a grant that sponsored a photo exhibit that we did in the local community to help us professionally frame and mat all of the photos that the youth had taken over the course of the first few iterations of this project. I also really appreciate the ways in which collaboration is welcomed here on campus. I've been lucky enough to have amazing partnerships through my undertaking in community-based research, and thinking about what I've learned in those partnerships is probably one of the things that I'm most grateful for in this space. One of the things I love about working here at Notre Dame is that this is a space that no matter what faith tradition you come from, no matter what ethnic or racial background, or even socioeconomic or sexual identity background you come from, that you can bring yourself to the work that you do. That this is a place that welcomes different lines of research, different ways of thinking, and different philosophical and theoretical paradigms that we come to the table with as individuals. I have never once felt like I couldn't do the kind of work that I wanted to do here. And for me, it's easy to relate that to being Catholic or believing in Catholic social tradition, but I think it's just as easy for people to take whatever faith tradition or lack thereof and think about being at an institution that really values ethical thinking, moral thinking, thinking that's going to change the world for the better. When you come up with a project here at Notre Dame, there are as many offices as you can imagine that will help you support that. Whether it's the Office of Digital Technology, whether it's international studies, whether it's thinking about how we use a global gateway to bring work in, or an archive in, or other spaces in our global world into our work. This is a place that supports who you are and what you do.